What do a tampon, a condom, a steel wool pad, and a crayon have in common? They might seem like random items from your junk drawer, but in a survival situation, they could be lifesavers. We're not talking about wilderness survival tips you've heard a million times. We're talking about unexpected uses for everyday objects that could help you get out of a tight spot. Forget MacGyver. This is real-world survival you can actually use. Survival isn't always about having the fanciest gear or the most expensive equipment. Sometimes, it's about resourcefulness, about knowing how to use ordinary objects in extraordinary ways. This video isn't about survivalist fantasy. It's about practical life hacks, things you can actually use if you find yourself in a survival situation. We'll cover 5 unexpected items that can help you with fire starting, water collection, first aid, and more. Get ready to rethink your everyday carry, because these tips could save your life. Tip 1: Fire starter, steel wool and a battery. Fire is essential in a survival situation. It provides warmth, light, a way to cook food, purify water, and signal for help. But what if you don't have matches or a lighter? Here's where a surprising combination comes in handy: steel wool and a battery. Steel wool, the kind you use for cleaning pots and pans, is made of very fine steel fibers. When you touch the terminals of a 9-volt battery, or even a lower voltage battery, like AA or AAA, with some effort to the steel wool, you create a short circuit. The electrical current flows through the thin steel fibers, causing them to heat up rapidly and ignite. The fine fibers have a lot of surface area, which makes them oxidize quickly, creating enough heat to start a fire. Here's how it works. Find some fine-grade steel wool. Number 000 or number 0000 is best. Pull it apart a bit to make it fluffy and increase the surface area. Touch the terminals of the battery to the steel wool. You should see sparks and the steel wool will start to glow red hot. Immediately transfer the glowing steel wool to your tinder bundle, dry leaves, grass, cotton, etc., and gently blow on it to encourage flames. It's surprisingly effective, and it works even if the steel wool is slightly damp. Important safety note: be very careful when doing this, as the steel wool can get extremely hot. Use gloves if possible, and have a safe place to start your fire, away from flammable materials. It's like a cheat code for fire starting, and all you need is common household items. Tip 2: Water collection, condom or plastic bag. Water is even more critical than fire for survival. You can survive for weeks without food, but only a few days without water. Finding a clean water source is often the top priority in a survival situation. But what if you can't find a stream, spring, or lake? Here's where a condom, and used, of course, or a large, clear plastic bag can be incredibly useful. A condom, surprisingly, can hold a significant amount of water, up to a gallon or more, depending on the size and strength. It's strong, flexible, and waterproof, making it an excellent emergency water container. You can use it to collect rainwater, or even to transport water from a source to your camp. However, be aware that water stored in a condom may have a latex taste, and it's not ideal for long-term storage. It's a short-term solution. A large, clear plastic bag can be used for a different method of water collection: transpiration. Find a leafy, non-poisonous plant or tree branch. Place the bag over a leafy section and tie it off securely at the base. As the plant transpires, releases water vapor through its leaves, the water will condense inside the bag. This method works best in sunny conditions, and it can take several hours to collect a significant amount of water, but it's a way to obtain clean, distilled water in a survival situation. You can also dig a hole, put a recipient inside, put green vegetation around, and cover the hole with a plastic bag, securing it with rocks. The vegetation will make water, and it will drip to the container. Tip 3: First aid, tampon or super glue. Injuries are a major concern in a survival situation. Even a small cut or scrape can become infected, and more serious injuries can be life-threatening. While a proper first aid kit is always best, you might not have one with you. Here's where some unconventional items can come in handy. A tampon, surprisingly, can be used as a makeshift wound dressing. Tampons are sterile, absorbent, and designed to stop bleeding. They can be particularly useful for deep puncture wounds, as they can be inserted into the wound to help control bleeding and absorb blood. However, it's important to note that a tampon is not a substitute for proper medical care. It's a temporary measure to help control bleeding until you can get professional help. Super glue, cyanoacrylate adhesive, can be used to close small cuts and wounds. It's not ideal, and it's not recommended for deep or puncture wounds, but in a pinch, it can help to seal a wound, prevent infection, and stop bleeding. Medical-grade cyanoacrylate adhesives are actually used by doctors and surgeons, but the kind you find in a hardware store is not the same. However, in an emergency, it can be a viable option for minor cuts. Clean the wound thoroughly before applying the glue, and only use it on small, clean cuts. Tip 4. Signaling for help, crayon and mirrors. If you're lost or stranded, signaling for help is crucial. You need to make yourself visible and audible to potential rescuers. There are many ways to signal for help, but here are a couple of unconventional methods that utilize common items. A crayon can be a surprisingly effective signaling tool. The wax in crayons is flammable, and they can be used to create a smoky signal fire. The colored smoke, especially from darker crayons, can be more visible than the smoke from regular wood, particularly against a light background. A signal mirror is a small, reflective surface, often made of glass or polished metal, that can be used to flash sunlight towards potential rescuers. The reflected sunlight can be seen for miles, even on a hazy day. Signal mirrors are standard equipment in many survival kits, but if you don't have one, you can improvise with any reflective surface, such as a cell phone screen, even if the battery is dead, a compact mirror, a piece of shiny metal, or even the reflective side of a CD or DVD. The key to using a signal mirror effectively is to aim the reflected sunlight accurately. Hold the mirror up to your eye and use your fingers to create a V shape. Sight the target, e.g., a plane, a boat, a distant mountaintop, through the V. Then, flash the reflected sunlight across the target, using a slow, deliberate motion. The flashes of light will be highly visible, even from a great distance. Tip 5. Navigation, shoelace and watch. If you're lost, knowing how to find your way back to civilization is crucial. A compass and a map are the ideal tools for navigation, but what if you don't have them? Here's a simple trick that can help you determine direction using an analog watch and a shoelace. This method only works if you have an analog watch, one with hands, not a digital display, and you can see the sun. Hold the watch horizontally and point the hour hand at the sun. Imagine a line that bisects, cuts in half, the angle between the hour hand and the 12 o'clock mark on the watch. That line points south, in the northern hemisphere, or north, in the southern hemisphere. You can also use your shoelace. Find a small stick and put it straight on the ground. Next you will mark where the shadow ends. Wait around 15 minutes, and mark where the shadow ends again. Connect the two dots with your shoelace. This will give you an east-west line. So, there you have it. 5 survival life hacks that could actually save your life, using everyday objects in unexpected ways. These tips are not a substitute for proper training and preparation, but they can give you an edge in a survival situation. The most important thing is to stay calm, think creatively, and use your resources wisely. What do you think? Which of these life hacks surprised you the most? Do you have any other survival tips to share? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel. We'll continue to explore the practical side of survival, separating fact from fiction, and giving you the knowledge you need to stay safe. Give this video a thumbs up to show your support, share it with your friends and family. It might just save a life. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Until next time, stay prepared, stay resourceful, and remember, survival is often about making the most of what you have.